put in place to ease the work of NGOs and other civil society organizations?
Okay, so your contribution, Madam.
Yes, I Hafsa has mentioned all these bodies are in place by the government, and so NGOs that work with these bodies have to collaborate with them. And apart from that, so there's also the Domestic Violence Act, which is in place, which leads or provides guidance when it comes to dealing with issues of sexual and gender-based violence. So that's just to add to what she was.
Okay, so I want to assume that, have you ever come into contact with victims of sexual abuse before?
Yes, I have.
Have you worked closely with any of them?
Yes. Well, I had an experience when some time back with somebody who got raped.
Okay.
And then I was working in the hospital. So after the thing happened, she rushed to the hospital to ask that to conduct an HIV test on her. And I told her, well, she has to go through counseling. That was when she actually opened up to tell me that she was gang raped by armed robbers. She got in a taxi and they found their way to the bush and then raped her. So I had to liaise with a colleague who's a clinical psychologist to start a counseling process for her. And then we had to refer her to the public health unit of the hospital that I was working in for them to consider the counseling before they conducted gave her prophylaxis, because at the time, if she had infected, not show positive. So to provide her with prophylaxis to stop the internet infection. So yeah, so some of these structures are in place to provide support to a victim when somebody finds itself in such a situation. The counseling, the medical care, and all that.
Okay, so I just want to ask, what are some of the effects of sexual violence on victims? How?
Sexual violence. One of them is, there are several. You put them in different categories.
Yeah.
It could be physical, it could be economical, it could also be psychological. For instance, somebody gets raped. There is a risk of an infection, sexual infection, including HIV. That's risk. Also the risk of the person getting pregnant, and then she might attempt, abortion or something. So if she really is pregnant, and then because it's rape and it's so much trauma that has to go with it, it tends to affect them in a way. They don't get the needed psychosocial support in terms of counseling or something of the sort. So girls of that nature, without that kind of support, are very timid. They become withdrawn from society. It also affects their self-esteem. But they keep blaming themselves, thinking that it was their fault that whatever happened to them happened. It could be. It could be that a very young girl, you cannot blame her for whatever happened, and nobody should blame anybody for rape. It's not acceptable. Yeah. So some of these effects are, the person's health, the health being compromised because she could end up with an infection, even HIV or any other serious virus. She could also affect her, emotionally, and then she doesn't get the needed support to deal with the trauma. She goes up with it. And there's also the tendency for them to, a girl who is ready to attempt suicide, or even cause harm to herself, because you're dealing with so much trauma and there's nobody to provide the kind of support that you need. Especially when the perpetrator threatens death, like if you tell anybody, I will kill you.
Yeah.
So she would rather keep it to herself and then attempt to harm herself or commit suicide. When she doesn't do that and she grows up, it affects her in so many ways. Yeah.
Okay, so Ms. Absa, do you have something?
Yes, so I just want to add that aside all that she has mentioned, there's also a lot of stigma around within either within the girls' cohorts or even in the whole community. And so such girls or women are stigmatized within the community, either by tagging her with names as if she has caused the whole thing. Most often when rape cases occur, they tend to actually put the blame more on the victim, and try to say either the person has dressed something. I don't want to bring this because I ask myself the question of, dressing, and then somebody will have to pounce on you. And so most of it, they're trying to blame the girl, especially when you are within a particular age group. From 15 to 20, people feel that these girls actually, they call for it. Most often, they see it that way. And so, for me, the stigma around it is more of a concern. And that is the psychological aspect that she also mentioned. So for me, these are some of the things that, just to add to what she has mentioned.
Okay. So, what are the support systems in place for victims or survivors of sexual abuse?
Okay. So in terms of support system, I think that just as I already mentioned, there are institutions.
Okay.
We need to directly report to DOFSU, Social Welfare, and SHIRAD. At some point, I asked myself the question, where should you go first?
Yes.
And I think that is the challenge we have, all of us have, because sometimes you will have to run to Social Welfare, and they tell you, go to DOFSU, you go and they tell you, go to health for reports. So I think that maybe last week it was clear in a way. So these are some of the things that we have. At the community level, we are actually supposed to have some support system. But the question is, are they working?
Yes.
So within us, there's already a support system that should facilitate our way of doing things. So your immediate family should be your support system, that is one. Your friends around you should be a support system. The structure in the community, that is because I know that every community has a structure. You need to report through that. And so the structure itself should be a support system. Just that we ask the question whether they are effective and whether we are going.
Okay, so if you just joined us, this is SavSign TV and the Young Voices Forum is coming to you live from SavSign TV. And our focus is still on sexual abuse with regards to rape and defilement. Before I move on to the next question, I think your contributions and your comments are welcome because we are live. I would love to see your contributions, your opinions, and if you have any other questions, you can leave them in the comment section. So there's one thing that I've been meaning to ask. Do you get people that just come to you directly instead of going to these places like the social welfare or DOFSU, and sometimes what are the things they say to you when they come?
So as an NGO, as a person working with NGO, mostly they call, they're not the victim, not the victim, but people around the victim would call and say, there's this issue, we want you to support us, to help us, support us to go to the police. Sometimes they think that we can actually handle it within ourselves until they come. So when they come, we actually mention to them that this is a police case, we have to go to the police. And so we have led several of those issues to DOFSU. And in fact, I must say that the Northern Region DOFSU, I love the way they work. Okay. They're doing very well. And I think we still have challenges around. Just that most often when it happens, we feel that it's slowed down. But they also work with systems. Sometimes they have to explain to us, we can't just start doing this. We have to do this, we have to do that. So for me, sometimes the victims are not able to come directly because they may either do not have the capacity to do that, and so the support system around them will have to facilitate some of these things. And they fall on NGOs. Mostly they fall on NGOs first. Yeah. Mostly because they feel we could talk more for them. They feel that if the NGO comes in, it helps the angle of community withdrawing the cases. They feel that when they do that, it will also facilitate the process, especially from the police angle. And I think these are some of the reasons why they fall on us.
Okay, so coming to Madam Quay, so what are some of the risks associated with helping victims of sexual abuse? I think, sometimes people come to you.
The risk from whose side?
I think from the victim side. There is.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a risk that of the victim being over dependent on whoever is providing the support. Because of course, sometimes what families tend to do is once a body, let's say an organization comes to say we want to support, or we heard about this case and want to lead the process of getting justice for the victim, there's a tendency for the victim and the family to, become over reliant on the organization, and then they tend to put all their burdens. The person's feeding, maybe the person is learning a trade or is in school, everything they come and say, okay, we are coming to you for you to provide support. And so then each of our body or organization or individual leading the process of providing ensuring that justice is served. I mean, there's a tendency for them to have this financial fatigue, because I want to support, especially if you take an NGO, which is not getting a lot of funding from maybe outside sources, but they have put aside some monies or some funds to support these cases, and they are being, the families of victims or survivors are coming to them every time and every now and then. I mean, that's one out of resources, so there's that risk there. There's also the risk of threats for both the victim and the whoever is providing support, because the perpetrator's families may come and say that we've won the case, or let's settle this out of court, and they say no, we still want to go to court, we want to take this up, and then they say, I mean, if I get certain messages like either withdraw or we kill you, something like that. So that risk of threat also exists, and of course, as individuals or as bodies that want to champion the causes of getting justice for such victims, we also work with time. That's why you're doing. I mean, we're doing some other things. So if it's the justice system is being prolonged, it's being slow. I mean, there's a tendency for you to get tired, or the tendency for you to get tired, and like you want to, at a point, you feel like giving up.
Okay.
And that also does not help the victim. It also does not help the victim.
Okay, so
Yeah, I think just to add to the point, she mentioned threats. Sometimes even at home, especially if you are leading that, your spouse may say, this issue you are moving into, in fact, you have to be very careful. It looks like it even goes to the extended family, aside you yourself leading the process. Or even as an organization, they say, we would not allow you to do this, we will not allow you to do that. And so it becomes another issue of whether if I have an intervention, I can go back to the community once you are leading that. So there are threats from both sides, either from the victim side or the one who is supported. And I think that these are some of the things that we need to be discussing more, because we need to let people know that systems must work. Yeah. And we have to make the systems work. The systems cannot work on their own.
Okay, so what role can community leaders play to curb this menace?
I think Pastor mentioned that in the communities also have structures in place that when it comes to these, there's supposed to be a support system for. So the family first should be the first support system, and the community leaders should ensure that the families are, families of victims of or survivors of such abuses are providing the needed support for them. That culture of rape now, we make it look like it's normal.
Yeah.
Let's talk about let's settle this outside of somebody commits a crime as just as rape. We must treat it as a crime. Even if the person is a leader in the community or an opinion leader or an influencer in the community, we must treat it as a crime and let it be a deterrent to others in the community so that they don't go, perpetrating such crime. So the community leaders must make sure that the right thing is done, and the needed support to the survivor or the victim of that act is available, is provided. If it's a community that has leaders, maybe women's groups, men's groups with leaders and who are into counseling and the likes, ensure that these people are active and actively providing the kind of psychosocial support to the victims. So it's like of them to make sure that we don't take these matters as something that you can discuss and settle in the home. Especially when the person involved, the perpetrator, is somebody that if they feel it has to be revered, maybe a headmaster of a school, and you think that no, hey, we cannot disgrace it. I mean, it's a crime. Let's treat it as a crime. Let it be an example to others so they don't follow in it. So it's up to leaders to ensure that whatever structures are in place at the community level to stop these kinds of actions are active in our working. And they're not, do away with that culture of, and stop blaming the victim. It's never a victim's fault. Even if the person is, an adolescent or a young person, it's nobody calls.
Even older people get raped.
Nobody calls to rape.
Yeah.
Even if the person, as they say, she calls for it. How?
Exactly.
How?
That's a question I keep asking too.
How?
I think that maybe, do you think that somehow the fact that we place a lot of blame on the victim is what is fueling this whole rape culture?
Exactly. So then rape is trivialized. It makes it look like it's normal. When you have a rape, it's the man, she was wearing this. Even if she was naked, it doesn't call for it that she should be raped. So we have to treat rape and sexual assault as crimes. Crimes, and especially as community leaders, they have to take up that position, and make sure that these crimes are treated as crimes. Yes.
For me, I get worried just recently. I don't know whether we have lost the issue or we'll continue with that. There was this gang rape in Zapsubu. And then we were called because our officer is there, and then he was involved in the whole process. They came to report it to Yendi Divisional Command. And in fact, this girl's parents were pursuing it with seriousness, right? All of a sudden, some chiefs decided to come into the whole scene. Of course, these are, I don't want to mention the chiefs, but in fact, prominent chiefs, right? Then, at some point, the crime officer said, this is a rape case, and in our services, we have to actually ensure that we provide the services to the person, and so where it has gotten to, we cannot take it out. And of course, if you are pursuing such, and then the victim, the one who is supporting the victim, decide to withdraw, what would you do? It becomes a dead case. The whole community, those who were supporting the man and the child, all withdrew, leaving the man alone, and the man was still pursuing. So we went in, and then apparently after engaging the police, the man called later to say he feels that everybody is no more supporting. He's in the community alone, nobody would be talking to him and all that. You can imagine this. And then there were delegations sent by the chiefs, of course, from chief to chief, to say that there's an issue in your community and I have an interest in it. Kindly find out how you can facilitate the process and withdraw the case. That is a rape case. So sometimes I just feel our elders are not dealing with us very well. They should make us trust the system, even when they want to deal with it in the community. We need to trust the system, but they are not doing so. So for me, it's a worry. They are currently, it looks like they are lacking some capacity to understand the constitution and the policies that we have. And so culture and Western systems are not able to work well. And I think that there's something we need to do there.
Okay, so I'm getting a comment on Facebook from Stephen, and he's asking that I would like Hafsa and Theodora to share with us how they reintegrate victims or their families back into their natural society, considering the fact that most times justice is served against the wish of the larger community and the families of victims tend to be isolated.
So, I don't have an experience to share personally or really a question.
Okay, so I have a practical experience with a girl. Of course, it was a child marriage, and when child marriage issue happens, there's always that sexual abuse because the girl herself is not ready for it and she's not actually interested. So this girl actually completed JSS. She wrote the exam, And the last day of her exam, she was sent to a man's house. And within a month, this girl was abused sexually, you know. So, and it wasn't her consent, so it wasn't like she needed to go through that. Apparently, she had to run from home. Unfortunately, she landed in somebody's hands and the person brought her to us. Initially, it was very difficult for us because, of course, a girl from nowhere, and then we were supporting her. And within that period, her results came, and she did very well. So she was placed at Tamale Girls. We also asked the questions because we had to engage the parents, and they were all in that. We don't want the girl again. She has actually disgraced us. Keep her and all that. We trying to still encourage them to say that, look, if she goes to school and comes back, she's going to be somebody for you people and all that. They refused. So we actually risked by engaging the other authorities, social welfare and all that of those districts. And then fortunately she was in a boarding school. She went to a boarding school. They left everything like Theodora would mention. Nobody cared about how she got to school. All the items we had to organize for her to go. Then her first semester, that is second term, we started engaging some of her relatives in Tamale here. And then the relatives that fortunately we had one of the relatives who was not in support of the marriage. And apparently we have been able to integrate her back. And now she even goes back to the village and comes back. She should be in her final, she's getting to her final year now. And now she's a happy girl. Though, you know, from the beginning, the first and second year, they were like, we are not taking care, we are not doing anything. And sometimes I feel that people are running from responsibilities. Not necessarily they really want it. I'm not sure they really felt like, let's send her for marriage because we are going to receive something. Because even the man they gave her to wasn't somebody who could lift them.
Yeah.
So you ask yourself, is it frustration that somebody would do that? And the girl could, with where she was actually coming from, could speak very good English. You would tell that the girl is brilliant and all that. So for us, we have been able to reintegrate some of them. That wasn't the first. We had some in Myanmar as well, which we have been able to deal with. Most often when it happens, the girl will run away, and of course it will hurt the parents. Yeah. And so, especially if she gets support, it becomes the other issue. Because it feels like she's not even going to regret at the end of the day. Running away. She will not regret, but she will get that support. And then if you don't deal with the reintegration very well, she will be isolated for a long time. And I think within a year, we're able to send her back. And now she works well with her family now.
Okay. So I think my next question will be, do we feel that NGOs are doing enough in the fight against sexual abuse? But before that, I'll just let you think about that. And I will go back to my audience. I have airtime to give out, fastest fingers. So I'm going to call out the numbers. If you get it, you indicate it in the comment section. These days, you people have not been trying at all. It's like when we get the airtime, we don't indicate it in the comment section. My manager has been asking if people have actually been getting the airtime. So please, if you get it, do indicate it in the comment section. And this is Vodafone, and the numbers are as follows: 2897 0247 9032 23 2897 0247 9032 23. That is Vodafone airtime. If you get it, indicate it in the comment section. And this program is being supported by GH Alliance and Semavi and Gabby's Beauty Home. Keep your comments coming and keep the questions coming. We are here till 4. So now back to my question. Do we feel that NGOs are doing enough with the fight against sexual abuse?
I think NGOs are trying their best with the limited resources that NGOs do have. Depending on the strength of the NGO. If it's a bigger NGO that gets donor support from outside, there's a lot that it can do. With a smaller one, I mean, there's a limit to what NGOs can do. But I think it's all to complement government efforts as ensuring that the menace in regards to sexual and gender-based violence is kept. So yes, where NGOs get a lot of support financially, because a lot of these things go with financial support. So where they have the financial muscle, you see that they do a lot of work. So certain areas where we have the strong presence of certain NGOs, which we deem as bigger NGOs, you see that there are a lot of work that they're doing around these. And like I said, it also supports the efforts of government. These are supposed to be done by government. But we know that the resources that are allocated to these bodies, like the DOFTOs, the social welfare departments, I mean, they're very, very inadequate. So an NGO comes to complement the efforts and also to facilitate the process. But we think that sometimes they are rather too slow. I mean, lots of bureaucracies when it comes to these matters.
Okay. So last week we had DSP Manuel here from DOFTO, not the region, and he said you don't pay anything when you come to the office there. In fact, I was so clear about it, because personally I've had people tell me that, you know what, you don't want to go and report because you have to pay a lot of stuff, you know. I feel like I'm thinking that, okay, maybe the only cost you have to incur is like if you have to be going to and fro to the police station, and DSP Manuel said you don't pay anything when you come there. So, and I'm sure that you have worked with victims and you have gone there. I just want to know, you know, Madam Kwe is talking about support, so financial support. So what at all is the money going into?
Okay, so if you work with the regional office, you will not pay anything. They may have the resources to move to do arrest and all that. If you go to the district level, the police tell you that we don't have a vehicle.
Wow.
We don't have a vehicle. Even if we have a vehicle, we don't have fuel. And so in some of the districts, we have been asked to fuel vehicles to go.
Police vehicles?
Yes, police vehicles.
Okay.
To arrest people, which for me is another angle of the system. DSP may not feel it because he's also in town and could easily move. He will not be blocked by any water and all that. In some districts, as far as Karga, as far as Mabrugo Mwadure, Tio is preview to some of them, they will tell you that I cannot cross the water. You have to do something for me to go. And of course...
And by what they say you have to do something for me to go?
Oh, that's the language of the police often. And so it's not by way of reporting, but I think I have to.
In fact, let me issue this disclaimer. I don't know that language.
Okay. I have actually been very furious, and sometimes I don't want to remember whatever happened in Mampurugu Maduro. When I pick it up, I become passionate about it, and I feel bad that we have to lose a life because we in a way, because systems fail. And for me, when I pick this up, I get furious, and I feel that sometimes we have to say what we have to say. So yes, so he's right. Going to the police, you must not pay. Going to report your case, and for them to do arrest, you must not pay. But in reality, that is not what happens. So to him, he may not have taken anything, and he may not even know that his officers are taking. I have to also tell you that in most of the districts, they will tell you that they don't have DOFTO. Yes, so a case happened in Karga, for example, they said, call the region, and we called the region. There are police there. And at some point, we had to lose whatever information we were given. So for me, I think that if the systems are not so clear, we would just be discussing like this. And the only cost I see is just a health facility, which I think needs to come on board for discussion.
Yeah.
Because a girl is raped or defiled, and you have to go to the health facility for a report, and you have to pay as much as 300, 400. In fact, it's not and fixed amount. So I don't even know where to start. As much as 300, 400, 500, 800, right?
For a report.
Yes. For examination, for report. I think this is not right. And as a country, we are not doing well, because I think that there should be a system clearly saying that this is the cost for this, and then people know and will be able to relate. But if today somebody is charging 300, somebody is charging 400, somebody is charging as much as 800 for a report.
So I'm not trying to cut you, but I just want to understand, what are they charging for?
That is what I'm
just
to.
Like, is it for the examination, or
so
just to append their signature that this person has been violated?
I think we need to do a little more in terms of this. I think it has a whole chain of whether they are doing the examination, they have to write the report, and they have to sign. I don't know why a signature would have to take that
exactly.
much.
That's what
but
I'm thinking
I think
right
there's
now.
a process, and I want to still find out whether there's always a medication given, the machine or equipment that is going to be used to do the examination has to be purchased differently. Whether you see, I think we have done all these discussions even with the health workers. It's not yielding any. This is a good platform. I think that we have to be airing some of these things. I think that it's time for all of us to wake up, to challenge the system, because I don't think that the health facility or whoever health worker should charge some amount that you see the victim and know that the victim can be paid.
Exactly.
You charge 300 and the person cannot even sell all that he or she has to pay. And you think they will go to report? We have a lot more of defilement and rape cases. They wouldn't come out because of this cost. So the police may not take much money, but the facility will not also allow us, because the police will depend on the report to be able to work. And for me, honestly, this charge thing, we have had meetings and meetings and meetings. It's not getting a headway, even at national level. And I think that we have to still talk about it.
Okay, so there is someone, Eban Akagwe, and is asking that how are NGOs reaching out to parents to be aware of possibilities of sexual abuse at home perpetrated by older siblings, neighbors, relatives, and how they can be alert to avert such issues? I don't really think these issues can be averted, but do you have a take on that? How NGOs are reaching out to parents to be aware of possibilities of sexual abuse at home perpetrated by older siblings, neighbors, relatives, and how they can be on alert to avert such issues.
That's a very good question, because of course we realize that a lot of the perpetrators of these rape cases are people that the victims tend to trust. Maybe a relative or an older sibling or somebody very close to the family that they probably are left in the person's care or comes close to them. So there's always the tendency for parents to, overlook these dangers, dangers, if I should call them. So with a lot of sensitizations, NGOs can reach out to parents. I mean, it has to be at not just the parents level, but it is a community, reaching out to communities about with these sensitizations. Let them know that, look, the people that actually the perpetrators are mostly people who are trusted by these, the victims. But the person will come and buy this for me. The child goes and she gets raped. So don't, and then also for parents also to be very open when it comes to dealing with their children. Not to be too strict with them, and to be friends with your children, so that when there is something like this, they can easily talk to you about it. But if you are an older sibling or even an uncle living with them, and the child is not able to tell the parent that this is what my uncle does in what sense. So what NGOs will normally do is to make these things known to parents that, look, the people, research has shown that people that commit these crimes are normally people that the children are comfortable with, or people that they tend to trust. It could be a teacher, an older sibling, a very close relative, or somebody who's a friend of the family. So the child feels, oh, I'm okay, I'm safe with the person, and then the person gets violated. And so it comes with a lot of sensitization for parents and communities to know that these things exist, and you have to look out for them.
Right. Yeah, so just to add that, I think that in most of the communities that we work in, the remote communities, they tend not to even have a feel of the systems that we have.
Yeah.
Even the policies. So, for instance, when you talk about child marriage, they know about child marriage, but sometimes they don't even know the sanctions that come up with this issue. So, they need more of the communication that we need to send to. Unfortunately, the institutions that are also supposed to do civic education, probably not because they don't want to, but I think that as we talk, we have failed as a nation to support institutions that should be doing certain things.
Yeah.
If the NCC was that active, in fact, it would have minimized a lot of things for NGOs to be moving in.
Yeah.
So for me, the NCC need to be strengthened to do their civic education, because some of these education that has to happen is just to support the other institution. NCC need to do education on the rights of people. They need to do education so that it will help the Ghana Health Service and the Ghana Education Service and whoever to actually do their work very well. So for me, that's one other angle. For the parents, some of them, it's just because they just want to dodge responsibilities that would land them in. Some of them have information.
Yeah.
But at some point, some feel they should just leave things to go. And for me, we need to do that engagement further. And for me, if systems in the communities are not strengthened to work, it will still be difficult for us to address these Western systems that we have.
So, in the community systems, what are we looking at? What systems?
You know, yes, because if you go to every community, they will tell you that they have sanctions for certain issues, especially if, for instance, if somebody is raped, some communities would say that there's a process that they have to go through to punish such a perpetrator. But at the end of the day, they are not able to punish because of the weak systems they have. And the other angle is that they are not actually doing it to complement the system we have.
Yeah.
So they do it in their own way. So
that's what I was coming to. So, you know, there was one time there was this case that came that someone raped a child, I think between the ages of 7 to 8. And the system they have in the community fined the person some measly amount of money and then to let it go. Do you think these are the systems that we should be strengthening?
No.
Okay.
No. So you see, even when we come to issue of defilement, those things are not supposed to be that should not just happen even in the community to handle. So for me, I just feel we should have systems strengthened to complement what we have as a nation. I just want to relate that to, you know, we in this part of the country, in the Dagbon tradition, we used to have in the health aspect, we used to have when a woman is pregnant, you don't announce that you are pregnant. And that was one way of keeping you away from antenatal service. I think you are reviewed to that. And so they call it paprego. So it denied a lot of women the opportunity to go for antenatal service. But what did we do? As the education was going on, some of the communities came down to ensure that the TBAs worked directly with the health service. And so Ghana Health Service also found a way to strengthen that system they have, because they have their TBAs who is supposed to go through all these rights and all that, and the community accepted that. But along the line, they integrated that. And so now, most of the communities, TBAs would send even the pregnant woman for delivery. And so the pregnant woman will have to go for antenatal from first month up to the time, and then the TBA will send them. So that is the system we are talking about. When you strengthen it and they know how it complements with it, then they are able to move. So that is the aspect I'm talking about.
Okay. So MFA Eto just commented that in a recent case we handled, we paid an amount of money for which we did not receive any paper acknowledging our payments. That only explains that this money is going to an individual's pocket. I think that is still on the issue of what people, the payment at the health center, because when I spoke to DSP, I think we actually need a health perspective on this whole thing, because we need to understand why we are paying that amount of money we are paying at the hospital when someone is sexually abused. There has to be an explanation for it. So going on, I think this is the time for me to give up my second airtime. Production manager, am I allowed to do that? Okay, so I'm giving out airtime. This is MTN, and the numbers are as follows: 75441031639491. 75441031639491. That is MTN time. So if you got it, please indicate it in the comment section. And if you just joined us, it's all the Young Voices Forum coming to you live from SavSign TV. And we are talking about sexual abuse, the role of NGOs. So we are almost ending we are almost coming to the end of the program. So I will just ask that at this point, what are the recommendations to improve the fight against sexual violence? What do you think people need to do differently? What do you think organizations need to do?
Okay, so for me, aside the education, we are trying to see how we can empower more young people. For me, when we have more of the young people out there who are not influenced politically, I think they can help a lot. I mentioned who are not influenced politically because I have a reason. At some point when you get issues and you want to deal with it, it's either NDC or MPP that comes in around there, which annoys a lot. Yeah. And most often you find the youth divided. Yeah. So if you have a youth group that is supposed to champion a particular issue, who are already empowered and want to do it, they get this challenge of division. So for me, that is what I mean by if we have the youth, because what I know is that the youth can turn everything around. Yeah. And until we take ourselves away from these political terms, it will never change anything. So one, they need that empowerment, they need to be independent, and then we need as a community to understand the policies and laws that we have, so that we'll be able to integrate. We are not saying nobody should work without their tradition, but if we don't integrate at some point, it will be difficult to actually get these things resolved. I can't understand why somebody would defile, who would just have sex with a child. Sometimes it doesn't make sense.
What times it doesn't make sense, actually? It
doesn't make sense. I don't know. Well, I am not a man, but even with the structure God has given you, it's not to have sex with children. So at that point, it's already insane. So I don't know why people would also be protecting such people. Yeah. And those who will be protecting such people are also, in a way, I don't want to describe it.
Yeah, but sometimes we call them rape apologists. So sometimes, in a community, one of the things that happens there is that some of the excuse people give is that, today it has happened to Mr. So-and-so's son, and you are talking about it. Who knows, tomorrow it might be your son. You see that the whole mindset is sickening.
Yeah. It should happen to the son. And then you want yours.
No, and so right now, so they are making their sons look like they are the victims.
Exactly. So for me, I think we need to come up somewhere. Yeah. We are stuck. we are stuck because one, we are not making the systems work. The police are not able to do their work well because when they go, they have to see the chief, which is wrong. The police has to be called by some politician, an MP, a DCE, which, so if it happens to your child, will you do that?
Exactly.
So for me, let's not interfere in sexual abuse. What is sexual abuse? Sexual abuse. Let's deal with it with the system. So for me, I think that we need to come out from somewhere. Either we all say we don't fear now, let's move on, and the police should not be influenced, because when I say they should not, because they also fear. The police fear because they think that if they don't listen to the MP, tomorrow he will be transferred to Mampurugu Moadure, where he will not have access to light and all that. So the police fears to leave Tamale. And so you see, until we do those things, there's no way we can ever make our systems work. If we don't fear, then we will be able to do that. So I think we are stuck.
Yeah.
It's not only COVID that has made us stuck, right? There are a lot of things. We were stuck before COVID came. And until we say that we are all going to be uprooted and move with some pace, there's no way we'll be able to work with this.
Okay, so Madam Kwe,
Recommendation.
recommendation.
Unfortunately, the bodies that have to, champion the cause of a fight against sexual violence already exist. And it's up to government to make sure that you are adequately resourcing them financially and then logistically. Like Hafsa have mentioned, you shouldn't have cases where you go to the police and say you don't have a vehicle to go and make effect an arrest. So government must make sure that resourcing these bodies is a priority. When you're making budgets available, make sure that you have budgets enough for resourcing them. Then also about the medical payment thing. I don't know if it could be free or even be covered by the
National Health Insurance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's happening that somebody gets raped and then the police request for this medical report before they can start action. The person goes to the hospital or clinic or wherever. And then, the family is faced with this issue of non-payment because, they cannot get it because they cannot pay. Is there a way we can cover these, maybe by health insurance or some other means, or make it free? We should make it free. And I think in terms of getting justice for the victims, we have the legal aid. The legal aid like some kind of pro bono services. And recently, I heard somewhere on the news item sometime that they also mentioned that they are also very under-resourced. They are not getting funding. So that's what cases come to them and they cannot follow up. So these bodies should prioritize for getting resources from the government. And then also, I think at school level, most of our victims are in school. The Ghana Education Service has the counseling and guidance and counseling units. They should also be up and coming. They should also be resourced enough to provide start the counseling process to reintegrate these victims back into the school and the society at that level. So we should resource them enough so that they can also be empowered to carry out their duties. And on a community level, we also should make available to our community members the channels that they have to follow when it comes to reporting these cases. Like Pastor mentioned, sometimes they don't even know where to start from. Is it possible? Is it where do you go? Where do you go? So this should be very clear, at the community level that this is where you start from. If it's a rape case, it's up to the police. So maybe somebody can take up to lead the process, take up the police, maybe we lodge a complaint, and then and then we go on from there. So these channels should also be very well outlined for community members. And then also maybe what we can also do is to ensure that we have this gender and child-friendly courts. I don't know what happens at the court when it comes to dealing with rape cases, whether the victims are also allowed there. I know it's been traumatizing for a victim to come and talk about what happened. But maybe if you have a gender-friendly or child-friendly
in a settlement form, so they don't appear.
Okay. So so these structures should be there and working. And the family is the first point of support for the victim. Like I mentioned earlier, parents should be friends with their children. Be a parent, but also be a friend. So the child can come to you when there is an issue. They can talk freely with you. so that you can protect your child as well. And then the psychosocial support. It's very, very important. I mean, a child goes through this kind of trauma and there's no counseling whatsoever, and we expect that they will somehow be integrated back into the society without them, having some kind of challenges in the future or even in the present.
Yeah.
So there's psychosocial support to victims is also very important. I mean, the counseling, because otherwise they live with that trauma. It gets panic attacks.
Yeah.
They sit down and these things play back in their minds, and then so it's very important to take a child or whoever the victim through some kind of counseling to take this pain off them. So all these should be in place and be working and be supported by governments and NGOs and whichever bodies are mandated to provide that kind of support to them.
Okay, so I'm going to give away my last airtime and then we wrap up. In fact, they actually have some rape prevention tips. But before that, this is Airtel Tigo and the numbers as follows: 5424183070549777. Airtel Tigo 5424183070549777. So today I actually have rape prevention tips, and it's as follows. If someone is drunk or otherwise impaired, do not rape them. If you feel like you are going to rape someone, carry a bell and ring it until someone stops you from raping someone. And if you are going out and you think you are going to rape someone, don't go out. What I'm saying is that rape is not a victim's fault. There is nothing a victim can do to prevent rape. Not what she was wearing, not where she went to, or where you met her. It doesn't matter. Let's not feed into the culture, the rape culture, that we blame victims. It makes it difficult for them to come forward to tell their stories and get justice. And if you're a survivor of sexual abuse, I just want to say we see you, we believe you, and what happened to you isn't your fault in any way. If you joined us today, this is the Young Voices Forum, and we are bringing our discussion to an end. Thank you very much for tuning in. Same time next week, Friday, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Make a date with us. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, fantastic.
Wow, awesome.
Well done.
Oh, nah, I need to text her occasionally to draw her some things.
Yes.
I